Well, it took them 3 movies to get Thor right, but they finally did it.
It's showtime.
What's up, guys? Django Fett here, hunting down games, comics, TV shows, movies, and more. And this movie is brought to you by the Hulk, Thor Ragnarok, Gladiator, Funko Pop. I thought this was pretty cool, and I needed to get this because I'm a big fan of the Planet Hulk storyline. And going in, I expected that. But I'll discuss that a little bit more. But got the Hulk, Gladiator, Funko Pop. These are the Avengers Age of Ultron Funko Pops. I'll eventually update these when the Avengers Infinity War comes out, but figured it'd be nice to include in this video. So we're back with another Marvel movie as to be expected, and I was really excited for. It came out on my birthday. I actually ended up watching it the day after my birthday, but I still watched it nonetheless, and I have to say, it's fantastic. This movie doesn't disappoint whatsoever. I didn't really expect it to be as good as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 because I freaking love that movie and I will defend it to this day. But I didn't expect this movie to be better. But I have to say, this is by far the best Marvel movie of this year by far. And God forbid, yeah, it's better than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It's kind of heresy for me to say, but it's gotta be said. Yeah, and it took them forever to actually get Thor right, because the first 2 movies really destroyed the character of Thor and made him this dull, boring character compared to the comics, which I was a big fan of going in. Big fan of his character, and he was one of my favorite Avengers. But what Marvel did, the MCU did to Thor, was one of the most boring and trivial routes, and I actually became not a fan of his character anymore after what they did to him. I just loved how they did in the comics, and I loved the, what was that storyline? Thor Disassembled, that storyline. That was one of my favorite stories of all time growing up, and just loving that storyline to death. And just seeing them going the boring, dull route with the first 2 was just, it's just terrible. I hated those movies. They're pretty fucking mediocre. They're one of the worst examples of the MCU movies. Not the worst, but one of the worst. So going in, I was pretty excited. The trailers were pretty awesome, having Led Zeppelin music, having this Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 or Volume 1 or whatever type of vibe into this movie. And it fits perfectly. This movie is freaking hilarious and it's badass as hell. So this movie has Thor who's, loses his hammer and loses his father, and Hela, his actual sister, comes in and takes over the kingdom of Asgard. So he has to come and take it back, but he becomes lost and gets into, encounters the Hulk into this other planet, and, so forth. I won't spoil any more than that. But what did I love about this film? So first off, this movie is directed by somebody completely different. Taki Waititi? I cannot pronounce it. But he's from New Zealand. New Zealand director. He made some other indie projects. I never watched them. After watching this, I really want to watch them now. But so this is like his first big debut when it comes to a big motion picture film instead of the indie scene. And he succeeded. He produced a really flashy and beautiful film. The visuals were top-notch, CGI was great, the acting was phenomenal, the movie was just funny from start to finish for the most part. It didn't feel boring at any point. The pacing was fantastic. I just loved it a lot about this film. It has a lot of reminiscent 80s themes, just like Guardians of the Galaxy almost, 70s, 80s theme. It was really flashy and bright, and I really loved that. And they actually made Thor an interesting character. I can't believe I'm saying that, but he was actually interesting in this movie. That's just crazy to me. And I liked Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Even though I can see anybody else play as Thor, he needed this type of film to really resurrect his performance as Thor, because I just found it contrived and boring, and we needed this lighthearted, funny Thor, and it worked. We needed this to happen. Otherwise, we'd have another boring MCU film to add, which we don't need. We need to keep up this flashy, comedic pace into these films. I just really liked Chris Hemsworth. His performance was pretty good. I just liked the comedic route he was going. I liked Tessa Thompson as the Valkyrie. The Hulk, Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. I think this is the best recreation of the Hulk I've seen yet. Definitely incorporating Planet Hulk storyline little bits and pieces into the movie itself. And it incorporated some other storylines, other Thor story arcs. As for actually committing to that storyline, that doesn't happen at all. This movie is its own thing altogether. I was a little disappointed by that because I love the Planet Hulk storyline. I like World War Hulk. I prefer the Planet Hulk storyline the best, in my opinion. And then we have Loki, Tom Hiddleston returning, which is great, as well as Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master. Man, this guy just played himself, and it was just... If you've seen Jurassic Park, you've seen Jeff Goldblum's other performances, you know how funny this guy is. He'll just act the way he is, like just his regular self, and it will just come off as just the funniest freaking thing ever and just work in the film. It's just crazy to me how much it works into the film. Just him just being himself. And instead of just being this whole, godly Grandmaster, being something different, he was just being Jeff Goldblum. Which I loved, okay? Because who doesn't love Jeff Goldblum? I mean, come on. You need Jeff Goldblum in your life. I mean, come on. We also have references from the other movies, like Avengers Age of Ultron, with the Hulk falling in love with the fucking Black Widow, which is one of the dumbest fucking things ever. That was included quite a lot. That was funny. And there was just a lot of references from the previous films into this one that I just felt like really worked in the film. And we have Cate Blanchett. I mean, she's just one of the greatest actresses of all time, playing as Hela. And she was good. Okay, I won't say she was great. I mean, it's great by Marvel standards and comic book standards, but it's not like, oh my god, this is the greatest villain of all time. It's good, It's whatever. I forgot about Carl Urban as the Executioner. He had a very minor part in the film, as well as the director himself actually voiced as Korg in the film. Taika Waititi or whatever. He pretty much sounds like my boy Tamora Morrison. The godly Mandalorian himself. Tamora Morrison, which you guys know as Django Fett. I thought he was in it instead of the Waititi, the director guy. But, from what I've heard, he's actually in the film and played as Korg, this other rock dude thing, whatever. And he was effing hilarious, as well as everybody else. Like, I just really love this film overall. I just was busting out laughing. Not so much in the beginning, I will say, but after that 10-15 minute mark, I will say I was just cracking up the whole time. And it's by far the funniest Marvel movie I've seen yet. I thought it was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 for a while, as well as Ant-Man, but I gotta say, this is the next funniest one out there, by far. I just had a blast with this movie. I'm not gonna say too many negatives. I really can't think of too many negatives. The Asgard stuff, with them saving Asgard and saying it's a people, not a place, and I thought that was extra cheesy. A little too much. And the after credit scenes, they're after credit scenes. They're never good. Like, I always thought they would be better this time around, but they've always just been pretty awful. except for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, having like 7 of them or something like that, and actually like being funny and entertaining and worth the wait. This one, it's not really worth it. The first one, yes. The second one, no. And I will say, they put a lot in this film. They put Surtur in the film as well, and other Thor characters. A lot of Thor, universe characters in this movie. They did miss one character, which is one of my favorite parts of the Thor, universe, or whatever you call it, is Beta Ray Bill. He is one of the aliens that was able to beat Thor and pick up the hammer. And he was granted his own and to protect his, people. He's one of the coolest things out there, and I would have loved to see him included, fight with Thor, come together with this team. I thought that would be really, really cool to see, but unfortunately we did not see that. Thought it was a little disappointing not to include that little addition into the film. That's just a minor complaint in my opinion, but I would have liked to see that. This is by far the best Marvel film of this year, so in my opinion, Thor Ragnarok gets a... A very entertaining movie that I'm probably going to see a second time in theaters, without a doubt in my mind, because I just found it so freaking entertaining that I just want to go out and see it again. I'm thinking about Justice League or that movie. I'd honestly want to see Thor any day over fucking Justice League, but since I have Movie Pass, I might consider Justice League or even watch Thor again. I'm not really sure. I'll have to decide on that. But I don't want to do a review on Justice League. Fuck that movie, okay? I might not even watch it. I don't even know at this point. But I want to see how bad and shitty that fucking movie is going to be. Because I know it's going to be shit, and I'm calling it fucking right now. I'm still pissed off with Batman vs. Superman and the DC shit. I refuse to see that shit after Batman vs. Superman. Don't forget to please like this video, comment down below, subscribe to my channel, Django Fett, and I'll see you, my fellow Mandalorian, my Mandalorian brothers and sisters, next time. Ooh, yeah!